Hi, I'm Candace Gordijn, and this is Fitness and Harmony. Hi, this is Candace Gordijn, Fitness and Harmony, so getting everything set up here and hope you can hear me. And today we're going to work again on Iyengar style yoga. Remember, BKS Iyengar was a guru that dealt with bringing yoga to everyone. In fact, that's the quote for today. Yoga is for everyone. So it doesn't matter whether you're doing any style of yoga, they're all yoga, and it doesn't matter. Iyengar believed that everyone could benefit because yoga integrates the mental and the physical plane into what he called alignment. So in Iyengar, you see all these props, and it's very easy to think that it's all about aligning the physical body and making sure that everything is physically aligned, and that is important. But the reason for that is so that the mind can come into alignment. Yeah, I just moved her bed, so I think she's looking for her bed, or whoever I'm talking to. So let me talk about the props. We use these yoga blocks. Now I have a bunch of these. It wouldn't hurt for you to have a bunch of them because there's nothing special about the number 2. It's just that we have 2 hands, so a lot of times we do certain poses. It seems to make more sense for our body to have 2. So let's go kind of fast here. We had the roller last week. If you don't have one of these rollers, there's plenty of places to get them. Probably the longer one is just more useful, especially for what we're going to use. So we're going to today integrate the roller, not just do myofascial release on its own, but we're going to integrate it into our yoga poses. So myofascia is the webbing that encapsulates and holds muscles together. So muscles, for example, there's 4 muscles down the quadricep group, and while there's 2 in the middle and 1 on the side, those muscles would sort of spread out and go around the bones if there wasn't something encasing them and holding them together. So we call them the quadriceps, even though they're 4 kind of separate muscles, because they're all encased together. They're the group of the quadricep muscles, and so their action works together. Why do we do myofascial release? Fascia is myo is the muscle, fascia is the fascia, and the 2 get stuck together. That if we don't release them, then the muscle is inhibited because the fascia is this tight webbing, kind of like having a shirt or pants that are too tight, you can't move. Same exact thing. So we want some movement. We want to pull the fascia. It really is very much like that, away from the muscle because it can get sticky. When we do that, we'll have less muscle soreness. We'll actually recover more quickly from whatever it is you're doing. So it doesn't have to be a workout per se. You, of course, increase range of motion, and flexibility and suppleness. And here's the most important thing. It's going to reduce pain because fascia becomes, when it becomes sticky and hard and holding a muscle, it inhibits the normal movement and the normal pressures. And so you have uneven load, for example, on your knees. That's a really good example. And then we wind up overstretching and overstressing, let's say the ACL, one of the ligaments in the knees, and then the meniscus is a little padding there. They get sort of worn out. And people always say, oh, I have this pain in my knee sometimes. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And that's what that is. It's uneven wear on the padding and the connective tissue. It's called the meniscus and the ACL that holds that together, and then it's like warning you, this is hurting, something's going wrong. So we better roll out the big muscles of the legs. And again, we're using the straps. Let's start with the strap today. I'm going to start with a simple seated pose. We'll bend one knee in. And I encourage you to get on the floor, even if you can't get up. And maybe I'll remember, I'll help you get up today and how you should. So come down to the floor any way that you can. You know, what's important is to be safe. That's what's most important. Take the strap, loop it around the foot. Now what we're going to do is we're going to extend the spine. I'm going to talk a lot about breathing today, but of course breathe. We're going to extend the spine. When we do this, and if you notice, I'm really pulling my chest forward and I'm really rolling my shoulders back. And I'm using the strap. I'm not stretching my leg. That's not the purpose here. It may look like that. The purpose is to pull the spine, the front of the spine up, and I'm actually taking my pineal gland, my pituitary gland, facing it up, because what I want is light. I want enlightenment. I want to bring in energy. So the name of the game here is getting energy to flow. So here's what Iyengar would say. Awareness, so I'm aware of my posture, drives the practice. The practice creates skill, so I get better. The skill gives me appreciation for my mind and body. So I can go around, let's switch to the other leg, I can go around and not really notice Make sure your hips are seated down, so not that curled under, curved under. Loop. And then pull. So I'm extending. I want you to pull quite hard here. I really want you to pull hard here. Again, I'm not necessarily stretching my leg, but I am extending the upper back, not necessarily the head, but I am lifting the pineal gland up to the sky. Remember, the pineal gland regulates light, sometimes called the third eye, and it creates melatonin. So if you're going to plan on sleeping, you need light. You need light, not light to sleep, really. All right, so that's good with the strap here. Let's go on. I want to take the roller. Now, if you're one of those long rollers, this might be a little bit harder. You might have to really take your legs out wide. But I like to use the roller this way. The roller's really not doing anything except being a little support for me, so that if I can hinge forward, I have some place to put my hands. Otherwise, my hands are digging at the floor. So the roller helps me roll out. I'm not doing anything. I'm not rolling my wrists or my forearms. I'm not putting any pressure here. So a muscle that is inhibited and has this uneven load eventually causes the pain, whether it's the muscle itself or it's in the joint. By the time it's in the joint, you're in trouble. By the time it's in the joint, and I've had this myself, where I've ignored muscles that were tight. It's a muscle, it's just a tight muscle, let it go. Eventually it pulls a joint out of alignment, real alignment, like on x-ray alignment, and then I can tell you, and a lot of you have talked to me about this, that's when doctors say, well, I can go in and do surgery. I can, cut that ligament, or I can fuse these bones. And few of us really want to go there. Let's move on from here. So we have that. We can put the roller under the calf muscle or under the ankles, kind of that soleus area, right where that cut is, that between the two muscles. And then I can just try reaching. I don't know. I can't reach. So I might use the strap. Iyengar style is do what works. Absolutely do what works. If this strap doesn't work, grab another one. If these blocks aren't enough, get some more. There's just the world. The world is your prop in Iyengar. So I'm pulling. Now I can come down a little further because I do want to stretch my legs. I'm not trying to necessarily extend. I'm just trying to stretch the back of my hamstrings. Oh, you're really gonna love that one. Let's actually come all the way into downward dog. So remember, Iyengar is about being present, practicing awareness. So awareness, and stay with your practice. So if you're wondering what's going on, am I really getting this? Am I doing? Stay with your practice. Just keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. So downward dog. I want you to notice something about my downward dog. My downward dog, I almost always hyperextend my spine. That's not right. So I have to remind myself, and it'd be good if somebody else reminded me too, to keep the spine straight. Now, this is different. Spine straight, spine hyperextended. That's not a wrong thing to ever do. It's just not downward dog. It would be, I don't know, stretchy downward dog. All right, so then I'm going to take this roller. Maybe come down to hands and knees first. Who knew my floor is not level? And the roller rolls away. And then try extending, kind of in an upward dog. All right, now some of you did this with me last time. I can roll these quadriceps up, down, side, side. I'm keeping my abdominals tight so that there's no sagging. I can kind of move the legs and hips together. I can dig in, or I can just enjoy the extension. All right, let's come back to downward dog. Take some breaths. Don't hyperextend the spine. What myofascial release is eventually going to do is increase your range of motion, your flexibility. That's always a good thing as long as you have enough integrity that the joint is not like bending the wrong way. And so an obvious example of that would be your elbow. Your elbow should only go to about there. Mine goes a little bit further. There's a little bit too far, but there are people who goes kind of a lot too far, and they have to really work keeping their muscles strong. Let's move on. So let's try that side plank. So we can do that by just coming into side plank. You can be on the hand or the elbow, either way. Take the roller under the hip, come down. Now again, you can roll here or you can just hold your side plank. There's not a right and wrong. Now, if I have my body weight pressing into this roller, believe me, I am feeling this. This is not nothing. In fact, I'd rather be in plank, I think, than to be down on this roller. And so I might come through several times. I'm not going to do that today. I'm only going to do a little bit. I'm just waiting long enough for you to get into it and say, well, you know, maybe this is something for me. Maybe I need to roll up at this hip. If you have wrist issues, you probably can't or shouldn't be doing this much. Remember, try the elbow when I'm rolling myself. I may stay, like right there is one of my kind of trigger points. Muscles that are tight, I may just stay here a very long time. So let's try this. We're going to come into downward dog. I'm going to use that roller. Downward dog. Low lunge, so step forward. Turn the back leg, prepare. Now I can use a block. There's not a right. Nothing is custom made, and I just can only be used for that. Iyengar, I don't believe ever used rollers. I don't think so. Now you're saying, well, you have that little roller. I have the big one. Well, that's okay. Maybe you come into this half moon from standing, and you put your hand on the top of the roller. And so that's how you come to your half moon. So that would be, so I don't have a tall roller. Ask somebody to stand here for me. But if they had the taller roller, I might come this way, come maybe through like a warrior two, right? The alignment of the hips, the strength of the legs we talked about, squeezing the leg muscles, and I'm holding on, right? Imaginary roller is maybe holding. That's not going to give you a ton of support, is it? And then try lifting off that way. Again, nothing special about the roller. If you just have a couch, just as good. No, nothing better about the roller. Anything to help you feel supported so you can try opening up. And the goal is to bring the mind into the body. We're creating pathways for the mind can see alignment. That's a really good thing. Good. So let's come down. And I want to do supported fish pose. Now in the past, I'll show you this one more time. In the past, we've had the block, low back, mid back. I'm just adding blocks all over the place. One under the neck, like that. But I could add, if you have more blocks, and again, in class, I just don't have the blocks. I just don't have these things. Or if you have another mat, you might do that. Maybe I'll turn this on its edge. I don't know. I guess some people might think this is fun. And who would those people be, Candace, to think this is fun? I remember the first time I put a pose like this. My husband's a very big man, and he said, "Oh, what are you doing to me? I'm not going to do this." And he loved it. He loved it. He said, "This feels great." He goes, "I would have never thought this feels good. This feels great." So again, I have more blocks. I have more possibilities. You have your own yoga studio, and make it something special. Really get the things that you really want. Make it yours. So, and again, I want to review what we did last week really quickly. So I'm going to do this quick. Strap behind the back. So I'm going to call this pull noodle. Right? It's pull noodle. Then suspenders. Then cross your back. Then ripcord parachute. One more time. Ready? Pull noodle, suspenders, cross your back, ripcord. Remember that? All right. one more pose before we learn how to come back up. We're not doing a Shavasana today, sorry. I'm going to use the roller. Again, there's nothing magical here. So fish pose is when the body's in an arch. So I'm going to take this pool noodle, maybe mid-back. Maybe turn this, I'm going to try it. Neck mostly straight. Your neck can go back a little bit, maybe up a little bit, but nothing a lot. That would be probably too much. So maybe like that. Again, if you have several different blocks, you have many different possibilities. Blocks come in sizes, but they don't really match people. It's not like your clothing. You know, oh, I take a size 3 block, and it doesn't work that way, at least as far as I know. So the roller may not feel good. Now you can hang out here and take a nice Iyengar stretch, or you could add a little rolling, and you might alternate roll and then hold. All right, let's come up. I just want to sit for a second because I want to talk about pranayama, and then I'm going to show you how to stand up, and then we're done. So for pranayama, this is important. Iyengar was very clear about pranayama. There definitely was important, but he did not integrate it into the movement practice because it was too much for your mind. So that's not really something a lot of the gurus ever teach, is pranayama. Interesting, you're surprised, right? In fact, he said don't do pranayama while the body is doing the asana because it's too much for your nervous system. It can't, you're trying to calm your mind at the same time you're doing something. It is too much. And a lot of you have expressed that to me. So let's try about 10 breaths. What you're trying to do is take your breath, slowly draw it in, and then slowly let it out. Now it doesn't even matter whether you're breathing nose, mouth, doesn't matter. What does matter is that the mind is staying with the flow, the rhythm, the cadence. So let the mind become a flame. And your goal is to keep this flame whole and bright and shining, not flickering. So there's wind and there's darkness in the world. But you're trying to keep your mind the flame, bright, whole. A steady light. And you breathe in. You're not disturbed by the breath. You breathe out, and this flame stays steady. Correct your posture. Align your head. Draw your hands together. Open your eyes. Inhale, circle up. Exhale, bring that light, that flame, that knowledge, that wisdom back into the center where it aligns, you and I. Namaste. Okay, thank you for practicing. I want to show you how to get up. So if you were concerned I can't get up, I want to talk about that. So again, the blocks or books, or actually have this hearth here. I probably wouldn't use it just because I wouldn't use it, but you could. Anything that's around, anything that's legal. So if you could lift yourself up, here's another way to get up. You could lift yourself up to a block, and then lift yourself up to another block, and then lift yourself up. And I'm going super fast. If you were having trouble with you're going to have trouble each time because the the bend of your knee is going to dictate how much you can or can't move. And this doesn't have to be pretty. That's why I don't really work on this during class, because I know that you're concerned with the people around you, but you're home now, right? You're home. So do what you need to do. The dog's not going to judge you, and I can't see you. So lift up. You know, again, this isn't pretty. I might not get it right the first time. I feel like I should have another block. Here it is. I have the couch. If I can just lean forward long enough, I can come up. All right, so I'm pretty high up now. That's just how it is. I could have shimmied and walked my hips onto that and then put a block on a block. There's another option. Pillows, pillows. But do come down to the floor. Do come down to the floor. Do come down to the floor. And then from there, you know, hopefully you can get up eventually, because that's the couch. If I felt like this, I couldn't get up from here, I might do this up against the couch. And of course the couch just doesn't move. This one moves until I can sit on the couch, and that's that. All right. I appreciate you taking your time spending this with me, and hopefully you've learned something about Iyengar and myofascial release.